Hi, welcome to Improve Work podcast. Here you'll find resources to level up your leadership role and create the team that you want. It's Daniela here. Feel free to ask me questions about today's episode's topic. Also, if you would like me to speak about a specific topic, let me know. You'll find my email address in the description of this episode. I hope you enjoy it and subscribe. Okay, let's get started. Hi, welcome back to the Improve Work podcast. In today's episode, we'll talk about the hiring process. And I want to ask you, is your hiring process getting the attention it deserves? First, let's define the hiring process. The hiring process is a series of steps designed to recruit and select candidates for a specific job position. It starts with clarifying the role of the future employee and the skills, competencies, and qualities this person should have. It then continues with establishing the methods and instruments that will be used to recruit people who match the job profile, gather information about them, and test their competencies when necessary. All steps are important, and the success of hiring depends on how well this process is designed and conducted. It's like an instrument itself. If, for example, you have a low quality phone, you won't be able to take high resolution pictures or videos. You may often become annoyed by how complicated it is to do certain things on the phone, and the overall experience with that phone will not be satisfying. If the phone components are low quality, its features will work poorly. And things are the same with the hiring process. You can't expect to hire great people for your company if the instrument you use doesn't have the necessary components to achieve that. My intention is to give you some reference points on how you can improve the hiring process and get your attention on specific things like the candidate's motivation for the jobs they applied for, because this is the number one factor that impacts employee engagement, performance, and retention. Sometimes companies don't gather information about this, and as a consequence, they risk making poor hiring decisions. I also want to get your attention on the reasons that might cause you or your team members to leave out critical information in the hiring process. Then we'll talk about the consequences of poor hires and what can happen when you hire people just because you or someone in the company knows them. And we'll start with the candidate's motivation for the jobs they applied for. And my question for you is, do you strive to know the candidate's professional interests and goals? Why is this important? Well, when employers take the time to find out a candidate's professional expectations, interests, and goals, they can determine if that candidate will be satisfied with what will be offered to him or her if they are hired. And then it's important to actually consider what you have learned about the candidate in the hiring process. The irony of things is that when you are genuinely interested in what the candidate wants from a future job, not only in terms of money, but also in terms of work environment and conditions, the type of leadership they accept and prefer, the work values and standards they are used to and expect, the growth opportunities they are looking for, and so on, you have great chances to make the best hiring decisions. This is because when you know what a candidate wants, and equally importantly, you are honest in your appreciation of whether those expectations can be met in your company, you are able to choose those candidates whose expectations can be met in your company, right? So these are the individuals who have great chances of being satisfied by what you can offer them. If employees are satisfied with their jobs, they will engage more And as a natural consequence, the results will be better. You can rely on them because they like what they do and strive to obtain great results. Maybe you are thinking that the candidates have also the responsibility to choose jobs they like. You are right. However, if they make the wrong decisions for them, you'll pay too. Probably even more than them because this impacts your entire team. Alright, let's go further and talk about why critical information might be left out in the hiring process. This may happen because the people involved in the hiring process don't realize how these factors will impact the future employees' behavior and retention in the company. Maybe they are desperate to hire someone and are willing to overlook important aspects. Or they might base their decisions on incorrect, insufficient, or non-essential criteria. One reason for which people may left out critical information is because they don't know which information is important. You don't know what you don't know, right? Human resources is a field that requires specialized learning. You can't be great at hiring people solely due to experience, just as you can't be great solely due to your knowledge. Although knowledge might be more important. A person can have experience in hiring people, but that doesn't guarantee good hiring decisions. On the other hand, someone with little hiring experience but excellent human resources knowledge is more likely to make great hiring decisions because that person knows what to look for in a hiring process. Unfortunately, because of a lack of knowledge about the human resources field, some companies hire individuals for human resources roles who have little or no education or training in this area. While these individuals can be wonderful people, without proper support to acquire the necessary skills and competencies, they will not perform well and their inputs will not be valuable for the company. To be able to set the selection criteria correctly, choose the tools that measure the candidate's skills and competencies, create the interview guide, communicate professionally with candidates throughout the selection process, and evaluate them, all these require specialized knowledge and training. Another reason for which critical information might be left out is a small pool of candidates. A company can lower its standards during the hiring process when it doesn't find suitable candidates. Although they can do this to some extent, in some cases, the cost can be major. If the issue is the skills, then this might be fixed through training and or mentorship. However, if the new employees don't have a foundation that allows them to understand or learn the missing skills and the willingness to learn and develop, this issue will not be solved. Another possible situation that will not end up successfully is when you know that the candidate wants something else from a job, but is willing to accept the job offer because of temporary circumstances. And you hire him or her because you don't find somebody else or you are not willing to spend more time looking for somebody else. Even if that person stays in your company for a long period, the job doesn't bring him or her satisfaction. Usually, unsatisfied employees will not engage fully in their work. Lack of time can be another reason for which critical information is left out. Maybe you need to fill a job position immediately and don't have time to look for other candidates. But in this situation, you lose even more time by hiring the wrong person. If the new employee is not a good fit, then this person can leave in the first days or weeks during the probation period or later. You may lose a lot of time training and integrating this new employee, and then that person leaves shortly, leaving you with the same problem after you invested in him or her with little return. Another possible reason for which critical information is left out is because of wrong selection criteria. For example, hiring based only on attitude, sympathy, or simply because the candidate is known by someone in the company will not lead to success. Only when selection criteria are relevant to the job positions offered and to the company's culture, and when these criteria are objectively measured for all candidates, the company can choose individuals who are a good fit for both the jobs and the company. For instance, you can have a candidate with an excellent attitude whom you like, but if you don't test this candidate, you won't know if he has the necessary skills for the job. And he might have these skills, but if he finds the job task too easy or has had more complex responsibilities in the past, it is less likely that he will be motivated by the job. The job might be perceived as a professional regression. Alright, let's go further and talk about the consequences of poor hires. Lack of satisfaction with job responsibilities, leadership practices, the work environment, the company's culture, or other aspects of an employee's experience will affect his engagement to varying degrees. This may impact the employee's performance and the attitudes and moral of other employees too. That's why it's so important to take into consideration these aspects in the hiring process. You'll need to manage poor engagement and performance and fill the empty positions. These may be constant issues in a company, but the levels at which they are encountered make the difference between companies that have a good employer brand and are able to deliver great services and products, and those companies that are not able to achieve these results. You can find detailed information about the consequences of poor hires in one of my previous episodes named How to Hire Candidates Motivated by Your Job Offers. Also, you can find a complete training about this on my website. And we are now at the last point of this episode. We'll talk about what can happen when you hire people just because you know them. People in hiring positions and employers might be approached for job opportunities by their acquaintances or friends. And not only them, every employee of a company can be approached with this goal in mind. There's nothing wrong with asking for job opportunities. It's a common practice to offer bonuses to those who refer someone new to the company. However, these situations can have negative effects on a company if it hires them for the wrong reasons. If these people go through the same hiring process as every other candidate and succeed in passing all the selection steps, then they are good to go further and get hired. It's a win-win situation. But if they get the job without achieving the expected results and without meeting the job requirements, then you are in a lose-lose situation. What often happens is that it's harder to give a negative answer to a person you know than to a simple candidate who is a stranger. This might make some people more tolerant or flexible with these candidates. But we get to choose our hard, right? If the hard but right thing is not done at this moment, then other difficult situations will occur. For instance, that person will not manage to perform well in the job, even if this person has good intentions and is trying to do a good job. This person will struggle in the job and he will not be happy with it. This situation will translate into losses for your company. Poor results can mean loss of material resources, time and money spent on a person who doesn't add value to your company. It also can have an impact on the other team members. Oftentimes, this person has to be helped by other team members, which means additionally costs for the company. If the other teammates are not willing to help, the situation will dissatisfy them. You can compensate them, of course, for helping the new employee. They shouldn't have to pay for a poor hire, right? Unfortunately, this is what happens in these cases. The other employees have to cover the work that is not done by this employee, or they have to repair this person's mistakes. Not only do they have to work more, but their levels of stress and dissatisfaction will increase. It is like a ripple effect. In large organizations, these kinds of situations may be even worse because the top management might not even be aware of them. These issues can go unnoticed and never be addressed or corrected. The employees may feel even more disappointed and powerless. The support they give is not recognized and impacts their own contribution and performance. Hiring people just because you know them can impact the company brand and culture. The company standards and values will suffer. By hiring a person who doesn't have the necessary qualities for the job or is not fit for it, the management sends the message that some people can obtain a position without being qualified for it, fit for it, and without contributing. So, on one hand, some team members have to work hard to obtain certain positions and responsibilities, while others don't. This creates an unfair hiring system, different work standards, a lack of trust in the decisions made by the leaders, disengagement, and higher employee turnover rates. Okay, let's wrap up. So, in conclusion, to make successful decisions, pay attention to all the steps of the hiring process and acknowledge what you don't know. Enhance your skills or seek support from those with the expertise you need. Invest more time in crafting and conducting the hiring process to reduce the time spent managing employees and to have a motivated team. Alright, I hope this episode was helpful for you. Feel free to ask me questions if you would like. Bye bye for now.